exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah. Remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media.
I was wondering who did that. Thanks.
Ain't nothing to it. A baby could do it.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value! It's time to ask yourself what you believe.
Mass murder, torture, perjury, embezzlement, fraud, deception, treason. These are just a few of your many crimes against humanity. You will not win this war, for you are fighting the very essence of humanity.
We make this judgment affirmatively. It will be an entire nation.
Hey guys, happy Mother's Day. I have with me my mom.
That's right.
I've been wanting to interview. Hey mom, put your screen down a little bit so you can see, because it looks like your head's cut off.
Oh, really? I'm
okay,
seeing all.
Okay, there we go.
Is it that way?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me get something. How long you think this gonna be?
Okay, wait. I'm gonna stop it. Hold on. All right, we're recording again. Then mine needs to leave it.
Okay.
All right, I'm back with my mom. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. Hey guys, how are you? Happy Mother's Day. I'm here with my mom Kay, and I wanted to interview my mom, and I'm really excited to do this. So she's been waiting for this. Okay, first of all, first question. I got questions for you. Did you know that you were white? Do you know why I'm asking you that?
No.
You remember? So I did this thing, a video like a couple years ago, and they like it was talking about how Black people need to be, like stand up for themselves and stop being victims and stuff. And it reached a lot of Black Lives Matter people, and they got so mad, and they were saying that this is the type of behavior that happens when you have a white mother. And they were saying that my mother was white. And I was like, she is.
So now they can see for themselves.
Yeah, well, if they probably don't even care. They probably, if they're gonna waste their time on my channel, like they're just gonna be at a constant state of anger because we're, our beliefs and our philosophies are very different. But I was just like, how did they even know that about me? Or how did they even think that they knew that about me, that I had a white mom? But both my parents are actually Black. My grandmother is half white, but my dad's my complexion. You can see that my mom is definitely, no doubt about it.
Black. No doubt about it, Black.
Yeah.
Proud of it.
So, all right. So second question. Do you remember that butt whipping you gave me when I was at the LA County Fair when I was 4?
Well, Virstyne, you've had several, so no. Why? I
was just telling somebody about it the other day.
Refresh my memory.
Okay, I remember, of course I was 4, but I remember because that was traumatic. But I think I was on the bumper boats, kind of like the bumper cars, and they give the little kids a certain amount of time to be on the bumper boats. And then they're like, all right, time's up. And you got to, stop and you got to get up. But I didn't want to get up. I remember not wanting to leave. Do you kind of remember it now? You kind of shaking your head, holding on. And I'm like, yeah, Dano and like, kid, sure. So if you had it to do over again, would you choose spanking or whooping? White people say spanking, Black people say whoopings.
Yes, I'll do it over again.
You do it over to me again?
Yeah, if you act like that, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Well, why do you think that is appropriate?
Well, in a way, it was the way I was raised, and I really don't see anything wrong with it. A lot of people, you know, try and placate their kids, talk to them. Sometimes, you know, it's good, but then sometimes it's not.
Yeah, I've had friends with I've had conversations with friends. I think I would do it differently. I would try the timeout stuff and
But time out in a boat, Virstyne, and other people trying to get on, and you know.
And I wouldn't let go.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sure that was why, because you weren't a hard-headed child, a bad child, you know, but maybe it was at the moment.
Yeah, and I feel like you as a parent and my family, you know, other members of my family, my dad, you guys showed me that you love me. You know, like if I got whipped, you'd be like, all right, and this is why you got whipped. And blah, blah, blah. It's not like you came home from work or came home and just beat me up just because. And I think my friend, you know, my friend Jim, he kind of really was the one that put that in perspective for me, because I have a friend that he was abused, and I was kind of like, you know, falling down this whole like, oh, I was abused when I was a kid. It was terrible. And then until I met people that were really abused, you know, and people that, you know, where their parents beat the crap out of them with their fist, or, you know, people that starve their kids or burn their kids, or, you know, kick them down the stairs or beat them with hammers. And just because, not because they did anything bad, just because, you know, their family were drug addicts or alcoholics, or, you know. And I really learned the difference, because what my friend did, he said, you know, my father abused me, but then my grandmother actually disciplined me. And
it's a difference.
Yeah. And he kind of explained that to me. He was like, you know, it's like, you know, he was like, my grandmother disciplined me because some of the things that I would say, me and one of my best guy friends, we both have the same kind of temperament. We're both smart Alex. We both don't like being told what to do. And as a child, if you have that temperament, you know, he was basically saying, you know, I had to learn that, or he had to learn that, because, you know, then you end up being an adult like that, which
okay, let me say this.
What?
I remember when I was young and my mother used to discipline us with a special belt, right? She hung on the door, and she used to say it hurt me more than it hurt you. And I thought that was the biggest lie ever. Until I had you, and I remember the first time I did whip you, and I thought about what she said, and it did hurt, you know, but I would rather...
Not as much as it hurt me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, maybe not physically, but emotionally, it is a hurt that parents have to endure, you know. But then I would rather whip you than for the police, you know,
or somebody
some
on the
man
street
to abuse you.
Yeah, or somebody on the street to do it, because it seems a lot of people that let their kids walk all over them. If you know, bottom line, if the parent lets the kid walk all over them, then they're gonna walk all over anybody else.
Right.
That's like the threshold, you know, that you have to meet, like where you're teaching somebody not to be respectful. So if they're going to be disrespectful to their own parents, and they're going to be disrespectful to anybody else.
True.
You know, even as a teacher, I had the hardest time disciplining kids whose parents didn't care. You know, I'd be like, I'm gonna call your mom. They'd be like, so? You know, they don't care, you know? So that's a shame too. And I've known people that I think that you could discipline. I've seen, you know, some of my friends, they don't whip their kids, but they're really stern with them, and they're really strict, and maybe their kids don't need it. You know, I think just me being the personality type that I was, maybe I needed it because, you know, like you'd be like, don't touch that. And I go touch it, you know, because I don't like being told what to do. Like, don't stick that knife in the electric socket. I would want to do it just to see what would happen, you know? So I need it maybe to be whipped instead of being electrocuted, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was that kid. But like, I'm very grateful now, and I see how even adults, so I have another, well, we're not friends anymore because she would try and walk all over me and be mean to me and abusive to me, but she was abusive to her mom. She would walk all over her mom and like her mom out.
That never.
Yeah,
that never
I would just
happened.
like, it would hurt me to see her treat her mom like that. And I'd just be like, God, if that was my mom, I'd be dead. Like,
The
I don't
mother
even
let her.
Huh?
I said the mother let her.
The mom let her do that, but you know, it's like she's this old woman and her daughter's like going off on her and throwing stuff and like cursing her out. And I'm like, God, I'm like, I don't even raise my voice. I didn't even think about raising my voice to my mom like that.
Yeah, but you had respect also for your parents. We respected you, and then you respected us.
Yeah.
And your aunts and uncles.
Yeah, I know, but I think that really that's home training, you know, because if you did let me walk all over you, I don't think maybe I don't think I would have learned that, you know what I mean? You got to
right. Yeah.
Even as a teacher, you know, and when I was subbing, I would watch other subs maybe sub the same classes as I did, and some of the kids will walk all over them because they let them. But when I came in there, the kids knew what they couldn't get away with me. I wouldn't let them do that, you know. And I had the respect. We pretty much, for most of my kids, you know, when I was subbing, we had a great relationship. And then later when I started teaching and had my own classrooms, I had pretty good relationship because I respected my kids. But if, you know, you got to like pull that first person that acts up, you got to make an example out of them. So, you know, that, so everybody else knows what they can and can't get away with, you know. And I remember, you know, I don't have children now, but when I started teaching a lot, I would go back to you and I'd just be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I know what you meant when you did this or how you felt. Just even being a teacher and having to be responsible for other children, I like started to understand why you did some of the things that I did. And you guys are so strict at the time too. And I just hated you for it. You know, like I was like, my parents are ruining my life. They don't let me do anything. You know, as a teenager, you're just like, oh God, I can't wait. And I remember one time
But now you see it was for the best.
Yes, exactly. And I'm so grateful. And even like, I mean, it's funny because I remember one time, I was so mad you said this, but I was like, I can't wait till I get up and I get my own apartment. And you're like, I can't wait till you grow up and get your own apartment. I was like, I can't believe she said that. How would she say that? You know, that's so mean. But now I get it. And I think I told you to watch this movie. I don't know if you watched it, A, because it was long, and B, maybe it was because it was disturbing, but it was called Out of Shadows. And
okay, no, I didn't watch it.
I know I send you a lot of stuff. I think I bombard you too much with stuff. But so just long story short, you might see it, you might not, I don't know. But it's basically about this stuntman that's in Hollywood, and he's talking about a lot of the pedophilia, and so, you know, he as he's witnessing a lot of stuff that he knows that goes on in Hollywood, and how a lot of the like the programming on TV, like, you know, it's programming your mind, like the things of violence and all this stuff is programming you, people that watch it. And I remember reading in the comment section that this guy was like, oh, you know, my parents, you know, were really strict about me watching certain things on TV. And at the time I thought they were crazy. And now I'm grateful. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And I was like, that was my comment, you know, because as I'm learning about this stuff, I understand now why you were really like, Mama, like I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, you know, and then when I go over to my cousin's house, then they were a little bit more lenient. So I love doing that because they could, you know, I could sneak and watch some stuff. But at home, I wasn't like, you know, you didn't really let me watch any of that stuff. I think that's why I'm so kind of stubborn about cursing too. On my own channel, I'm not going to curse in this interview. I'm not going to curse, you know, other people, you know, but when I do my rants, I like to curse. And I know you don't really approve of that, but I just feel like.
But you've been cursing ever since you could talk.
Yeah,
and I'm aware of that.
I know I wasn't supposed to. I got it from grandma. Got it from your mom.
Well, both of them.
I got it from your mom, grandma. I'm named after both of my grandmothers. My her mom, which is Virginia, and then my dad's mom, which is Ernestine, so Virstyne. And I think I heard that. I used to say shit a lot as a kid.
You did.
I love saying shit. And then my grandmother just loved it. She just thought it was the funniest thing. And I should be like, shit. Oh, I'm cursing in this interview. I'm sorry. I said I was going to do it, but.
But that was an example, so.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. I appreciate it. I wanted to ask you, did you want more kids?
I had wanted a total of 4. Yeah. When I was younger, but then after I had John, that was it. That was fine with me. Just the 2 of you.
Was it because of like the pain, or just like financially you thought, or just?
Well, financially, the pain wasn't that bad with either one of you, but financially, it was.
So if you had more money and more space, you'd probably have more.
We just, you know, we wanted you to have, wanted both of you to have the best. Plus, I was older. John and I were older.
Yeah.
So my time was running out.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think, you know, were you like, when you were a kid, is it something you were like, when you were a kid, you thought that maybe you wanted to have 4 kids?
Yeah, when I was younger, yes. You know, just daydreaming.
Yeah.
And at one point, I also wanted to have kids before I got married. You know.
Oh, really?
I was scared. I didn't want to be with the man by myself. But that was, you know, when I was, before my teens.
Okay. So, so the thing about, let me say, but you know what you did? But as I've gotten older and I thought about it, of course I didn't think about it as when I was a kid, but the fact that you were the neighborhood babysitter and you use it as a way to make money and also stay in our lives. And at the time, again, I was like, my mom is always around. I can't do nothing. My mom worked at the school. My mom was my Girl Scout troop leader. My mom did not let me out of her sight. And I resented her because I couldn't be bad.
So in other words, I stalked you.
Yeah, you stalked me. And I couldn't be bad. But I thought that was smart, a really smart way to, you know, gain extra money. Because like my mom worked at the school. When we were done at school, we were in different classrooms, though, but she worked there. So she worked at the school. And then when we, you know, we didn't really have a car at the time, so we would walk home from school. And then all my other friends would come home. She would babysit the other kids in their neighborhood while their parents were at work. And I'm like, that is a good way to make money and also like still raise your own kids.
Yes, because you know, I believe that no one can raise your child like you can. And I think that they should pay parents to just stay home and raise their own kids.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I remember you saying you didn't want me to be a latchkey kid. And I'm like, I want to be a latchkey kid because they get to order junk food and they get to play games. But that's what you said. You would always say that you don't want us being like latchkey kids.
Right.
And you always involved with the teachers. And I think that also has a huge difference too. And even as a teacher, I noticed that. Because when a teacher knows that your parents care, they're not going to treat your child like crap and they're going to take a better interest in your child. It's not like I was mean to the other kids, but if I had a good relationship with the parent, it's a community.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember principal told me that once. He said, when the teachers see that you care and you come up to the school and participate, they treat your child better.
Wow.
Yeah.
So even the principal admitted that. Wow, I didn't even know that. And it's weird. Like, I want to say that I treat it like my kids, my students better, but it just helped me, right? I can get, like, it's such a, like I said, it's a community Afro. There's an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this scientist that I like. His name is Dr. Shiva. And he was basically saying that he had, with the support of his family and his teachers and mentors, people that were willing to mentor him, it was a reason why he was able to become successful. And I'm just like, that is true. And we don't even really have that in society. And even as teachers now, teachers are so overwhelmed. A lot of teachers don't want to be teachers. There are a lot of teachers that don't even like children, and teachers are being told what to taught. And then, add to that a neighborhood where, it's either a violent neighborhood or, you're in a, you have kids whose parents are crackheads or they don't care, or it just makes everything so much more difficult.
I bet you now, since this, I call it C19, and a lot of kids have to stay home. I bet a lot of parents are seeing what their teachers go through with, with having 30 some, 40 some kids in a classroom, and you just have maybe 1 or 2 that you have to deal with. So I'm sure this is an eye-opening for a lot of parents.
I hope so. And I think I have heard that a lot of parents are actually liking the time that they're having with their kids. And in some cases, it's mixed, right? You have some families that are, domestic abuse has gone up and child abuse has gone up in some ways, but also I've heard reports and people talking about that they're actually liking the time that they're getting off with their kids. And,
That's good.
A lot of parents have been so wrapped up with work that, that they kind of like, they want to financially provide for their kids. So it's not like they don't care about their children, but I think a lot of people think that children need financial support, which is true. But I think the biggest thing is being there for your kids. And I think that, I grew up poor, but I never really felt that I was poor, because I felt like even if it was something, if I wanted something or my brother wanted something and you couldn't afford it, you would like pull together with the other members of the family to try and make it happen.
Yes.
And if I showed an interest in something or he showed an interest in something, before there was even like GoFundMe, you like guys would make a GoFundMe for us, And I think that's the thing that like that mattered. And you always like, and I remember because like in elementary school, most of my friends were like either Asian or Latino. And a lot of the Asian kids, like I had a friend that was Japanese, I had a friend that was like Korean. They went to they had extra school on Saturday. And I remember you saying, yeah, Americans need to go to extra school on Saturday. And I was so scared that you were going to be in extra school, but you kind of did, because you always made, like, you found some free program that you were going to put my butt in, like, oh, LACC's having a Spanish class, or they're having an art class, or they're going to have, or you made me go to summer school when I didn't even need to go to summer school, because I can hear you saying, you're not going to be sitting your butt down here, either just watching TV all day, you're going to get out and you're going to do something. And again, I was like, my mom hates me. Why won't she just leave me alone? Like, why? Like, you're ruining my life. But again, I'm very grateful that you did that, And I was just like, very, very grateful.
Well, I'm grateful that you are,
Yeah, it must be. It's hard. It's hard being a parent. And like, I have all those kids, but they go home at 3:00. I give them back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, kids, bye. See you later. I get 3 months off or whatever, or however long it is when there's a vacation. So let me see. Do you think it would be easier raising children today than it was for you, or harder?
You know what, Virstyne, I really don't know. I don't even think about raising kids right now. You know, I just did what I could do at the time that was required of me. But, you know, and it depends upon the individual, the parent, it depends upon the child, the surroundings. It's just a whole lot of things that it would depend on. So I really don't know. I can't answer that.
That's a good answer.
With, you know, with a yes or no, because I don't know.
Well, you know, some of my friends today, they say that have children, especially teenagers, are just like, it's so hard with all the social media and everything that's going around, and just the things that they feel like they have to protect their kids from, you know, from watching, from seeing, from the predators on the internet, you know. So I guess I don't know if it's like every era has their time, or every era has their own, like, you know, hard things to deal with, you know. And I think around your time, I would hear, you know, people of your generation speak. Other people were also more likely to look out for other people's kids. You had more of a community support in the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you did something bad, then and your neighbor down the street saw you, they would take you home to your mom and dad, and your mom and dad would discipline you for it. You know, people were looking out for each other's kids, where now that's not really, you don't really have that support system. It seems there's not that there.
And now if you discipline kids, you know, people call the police on you.
Yeah.
You know, instead of helping you raise them.
Yeah, for sure, you know. And then, yeah, it's very true. Okay, I'm gonna get a little deep. So you are from Tampa, Florida, and you were in the Deep South during the Jim Crow era. What was that like for you?
Virstyne, I wasn't exposed to it that much.
How so?
I know I remember them having like white colored bathrooms, but then we didn't go to places like that said white colored. I was aware of it. I did go to an all black prep school. We spent summers in Chicago. We traveled a lot. And
because of the aunts, though, you had aunts that supported that.
Yeah, my aunts, uncles, you know, we traveled a lot. And I know people have been exposed to some things that I wasn't exposed to. My brother, we weren't exposed to.
But you were, so you were just around a lot of Black people. You really didn't integrate. So you didn't really.
I was around a lot of Cubans, a lot of Italians, some whites, not that many.
Didn't the Cubans go to school with the white people? The white Cubans?
No, the Cubans went to school with the Blacks.
Was it the Black Cubans or the white Cubans?
All I know, Virstyne, they were Cubans.
Okay.
And they went to school with us. Some of them spoke English. Maybe a couple of them didn't speak it well or understand it well, but the majority of them were very fluent in English, and a lot of them did very well in school also. We made, you know, they made the honor society.
Okay. So, so basically you were just saying that you weren't exposed to a lot of the stuff because you weren't really, like you kind of like were in your own little zone, basically. Right? Is that what you're
right?
Saying? You didn't really have to deal with the integration stuff, so it wasn't a big deal. I remember, would you mind telling, well, first of all, I remember this, because I remember when I was a kid, and this shocked me. We were talking one day, and you were like, yeah, when I was a kid, you were like, I didn't really like white people. I was racist. I was like, what? Like, like you were like, how?
Yeah.
And then you tell us about the experience that happened when you were 16 and your car broke down. I thought it was beautiful.
Oh, yes. No, I wasn't 16. I was out of college, and I had a 67 Mustang, and I ran out of gas. I wasn't aware, you know, what was going on. The car just stopped. And a white guy was the one that stopped. And he told me, don't worry. He explained to me that I was out of gas, even though the gauge wasn't on E, but that was the way the Mustangs were at that time anyway. And he took me and got to get some gas. He brought me back to my car, and he put it in so that I got started and went on my way. And then prior to that, my first accident was maybe about a week after I had my car. And I thought the car was in reverse. No, I thought it was in drive and it was in reverse. And I backed up into another car. And, you know, needless to say, I was shaking like a leaf. And there were people like looking on the other side of the street. And a white guy, Daryl, that came over, and he told me, he said, you probably thought you had it in drive and you had it in reverse. And he said, oh, it's nothing to worry about. We do this, you know, people do it all the time. And he just calmed me down and talked me through it. And he told me that I didn't do that much damage to the car. In fact, he said I really didn't do any damage to the car, but if I wanted to report it to the insurance company, that, you know, that I should. And those are the only two times at this point that I can think of that white people did come to my rescue, and it kind of changed my mind about how they were.
Yeah. I just think that's so amazing, because you never know what one interaction, how that can change somebody's life dramatically.
True.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, I'm just guessing, you not really being around white people, you believe the rumors and the stories that you heard about them. So you're just like, ugh.
I probably didn't think that much about it one way. You know, I can't really remember, but I don't remember hating them. We used to walk home from school sometimes, and we would go through the projects, and they were like white projects, and they would call us names and we would call them names. And, you know, just school stuff. Like I remember I was in elementary school when that happened.
Okay.
You know, walking down 22nd Street, we would go through the white projects. And, you know, but, you know, we never fought with them, and we just called them names and ran and laughed.
Okay.
No cornbreads or anything like that.
Yeah, got you. How about, what was that? You were, okay, so when they were going to integrate the schools in the South, and you had that little girl come up to you, remember that? And she was all excited.
Oh no, what had happened was my mother, I had finished college by that time, and my mother and I went to get some crafts. And this little white girl came up to the car, and she said, the niggas gonna come in our school next year, and I'm so happy, you know.
Guess what, niggas are coming. She didn't know what
yeah. And my mother said, you know, that just goes to show you that they are taught, you know, integration. It's
you
not
mean taught
something
racism?
Huh?
You mean taught racism?
Yeah.
You said
yes.
taught integration.
Okay. Integration, yeah.
Racism, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she was happy. She was happy that the niggas was coming to their school next year. I could see her now jumping up and down.
That's so cute. That's so cute. Let me see. Okay, what are your thoughts about the technological advancements that you've seen in your lifetime? Because if I'm right, I don't know if when you were like a little girl, they had radio, right? And then TV, and then what are your thoughts about from radio or anything before that to like the iPad now?
Well, I love the technology that they have now. And I think about what we would have been, we couldn't really communicate in years ago without this technology that we have now. And, you know, with what is going on with this virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I often kind of think about that. We, you know, we can like text, we can email, we can Zoom, you know, it keep people from being lonely. Even if you're in a house with 15 other people, you know, a lot of times they're not your friends, but, and especially younger kids, you know, it keep them in touch. And one of my girlfriends was telling me that her son's teacher, I think once a week, they have a Zoom meeting and she read them a story. And years ago, this could not have happened.
Yeah.
You know, with this pandemic.
Well, you know, I remember, God, it's been almost a decade ago. My brother and I pitched in and we bought you an iPad. And I remember you knew about the Kindle and you wanted a Kindle because you like to read a lot. And you're like, oh, the Kindle looks good. And you're like talking about how you wanted to get a Kindle. And my brother and I like behind the scenes and stuff. And we're like, okay, well, like we should just get an iPad. Like, I think she'll like the iPad even better. And I was in overseas, but I gave him the money to get it. And he came to visit you and I Skyped you on Christmas. I think we got it for Christmas.
Right.
And I was like, but don't open it until like, I want to see your face when you opened it. Right. So you called me or whatever, called and talked. And then you opened it and you screamed, and you're like, ah! And you're like, what is it? you knew it was something cool, but you didn't even know what it was. And now today, my mom knows more like about Apple. She's like an Apple-holic. She's gone and taken classes at Apple. She's got the iPad. My brother gets her like the iPad, the iPhone, the iWatch, that, you know, like she's Appled out.
Yeah, I'm connected.
Yeah, you just like love it. And I think about people that are your age and how, you know, it must be amazing because I mean, TV, you know, we're like from TV to computers, where you're like from radio to then TV to computers. I mean, it must be just mind blowing, I think, for somebody your age to see the technological advancements, you know.
It is. And that's what I was referring to, I guess, when I was talking about the virus, the pandemic, you know, and how we can communicate with these devices. And it's amazing.
Yeah, and the internet and, you know, everything.
Yes, you know.
It's phenomenal.
And look, we're talking, interviewing. Yeah. I was in a Zoom meeting yesterday with 19 other people, you know, and we waving and talking and taking care of business. Well, before you couldn't do that even by telephone. You know, maybe you had one or two on the line, but you couldn't
I
see
remember when
each
three-way
other.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
What was the last thing you said? You said what? Now you can see?
When we would had that Zoom meeting yesterday, there were like 19 people on. And, you know, I was just amazed because you could vote, you could raise your hand by way of the iPad or the whatever device you was on. I say iPad because that's what I have. Mm-hmm. But years ago, you couldn't do that. Maybe even a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Do you ever remember the Jetsons?
Yeah.
And they had the video, they had the video phones, Jetsons, for you younger guys. I'm getting old. But it was like this cartoon. And it was like in the future, but I mean like more futuristic than it is now because they had flying cars and they had robots and stuff like that. But they had these it was basically Skype or Zoom where they can talk to people. And I'm just like, it's so weird, like watching that cartoon. I mean, now it's
right. It kind of put you in what we are going through now. Put you in the mind of that cartoon.
I want that hair dryer though. Do you remember like they have that hairstyle? You just push a button and it would come and like style your
Yeah.
hair. That's what I want. I'm waiting for that to come out. I don't know how they do. They got to have like probably a special one for black hair or something, but I don't know. I'm in like, so I wanted to ask you, let me see how much time we got. I have a few minutes. I know because you were talking about pregnancy and stuff and you were saying it didn't hurt. I remember hearing the other family members saying that you did not scream or anything. And I was like, really? And then a cousin confirmed it the other day. Like, how did it just did, why do you think it didn't hurt? And I remember you said that because you're petite, they thought that you were going to have a cesarean and everything, right?
Yes. But, you know, I guess it would depend upon your pain tolerance. And it hurt more with my son than with you. And I don't know if it was because they had to induce labor.
Probably.
But Virstyne, shut up, you don't know.
I do know the Pitocin that they use is really bad for you and it causes like side effects and stuff. It causes like it's
anyway,
not good.
he's here, he's doing well. And I remember I told one young lady I worked with, her baby should be two maybe this May, I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. And I told her when she was pregnant, I said, when you in labor, I said, you better not scream. You know, I would just tease her about that. So right after she had the baby, she Skyped me and said, Kay, I didn't scream. So,
but look, wait, let me go back to that because you're saying, I don't know. People that are watching this, you guys should look up the side effects of Pitocin. And if you're not allowed to naturally dilate and your labor is induced, your muscles aren't fully like expanded. So that would cause more pain. That's why I said that. I'm not saying it just to say it.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason behind why I say stuff. I'm not, I'm only sure of stuff if I really thought about it, you know? And I know.
Well, you know, I still didn't scream and holler. You know, I just
You're saying it hurt
damn
more
a couple of times, huh?
Yeah, but I'm saying you saying it hurt more, and I said probably.
It was more intense.
I have a friend that's a midwife and stuff, and she's done a lot of research on Pitocin, and that's what turned me on to that situation. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you about. I remember when 9/11 happened, and I was like freaking out and stuff, and you were like, oh well. You know, I guess it is kind of different for you because you haven't been, like you were explaining that you've been through like the Kennedy assassination, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all these assassinations. What was that like for you? I'm just curious. What was your perspective on that and how traumatic was it?
On 9/11?
No. I guess, I'm sorry. The assassinations of Kennedy and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and all those people like doing
I remember where I was at when Kennedy was killed, when I heard that he was killed. I remember where I was. And who else did you mention? Malcolm X, I don't remember where I was. And I guess I didn't really think that much about their deaths. I did see Jack Ruby killed. Was he the one killed or was it Oswald? Jack Ruby killed Oswald, right?
Yeah, Oswald. So Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Then what were those two deaths like for you, or how was?
Virstyne, I really didn't think that much about it. I was really sad when Martin Luther King was killed. I was with one of my girlfriends and Carolyn when someone called and told us, and we just sat there in disbelief. You know, it was just something that, you know, you just didn't believe that it would happen. And I guess that's the only feeling that I can remember having about it. I don't remember crying, but I was in total disbelief with Martin Luther King.
And how about Kennedy?
I was in college, and we were in our dining hall when they announced it. And I know my mother really loved Kennedy. And my brother said that he should send her a sympathy card. But I don't remember. It didn't hit me that hard. Not like Martin Luther King death did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm just guessing there were so many people that loved them so much that it was probably like a worldwide trauma. You know, you remember to this day where you were, just kind of like 9/11, you know. How about the riots? I remember, you know, thinking you were by yourself. It was me, my brother, and you. We were there by ourselves. So were you scared at the time? Did you think that it was going to be
No,
over?
I wasn't afraid, but I can remember smelling the smoke, and your dad called, and I told him, I said, I can smell the smoke, you know, and he said, well, close the windows, you know, and I thought, I should. I did not think of that,
just kind of
type
like
of thing. But we were pretty safe, I thought. And then that Sunday, when we went to church, we were living over by USC, and they had a lot of what you call those guards?
the National Guard.
They had the National Guards. They had a lot of National Guards, and that was because of the students. So I, you know, seeing that, I felt pretty safe.
I didn't feel safe. I don't know. You know, as a kid, you're thinking that the world's gonna end. You know, as a child,
you know
you're
what?
like,
when you're older, you just learn that this too shall pass. You know, and if you can't do anything about it,
do you remember the
why
ash
worry
falling?
about it?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you remember the ash falling? There's so many fires. Just ash, burning buildings and stuff. By the way, we're talking about the LA riots, the Los Angeles riots. Sorry, I don't think I set that up really well. But
I don't remember. At this point, I don't remember ash falling.
I remember the ash falling. I remember ash just was everywhere, blowing around like it was insane. Remember, I thought, you know, there's so many fires. The sun was red. You know, you could smell the smoke everywhere.
Yeah, I would definitely remember smelling the smoke.
My asthma was affected. You know, it was it wasn't.
It wasn't pleasant, but
yeah, it wasn't pleasant. I remember you making me turn the TV off because I was getting upset. And you're just like, don't watch the TV. You just turned it off. I was seeing places that I knew getting burned down, and it was just like, it was freaky. It was very freaky. I don't know. I know I'm going to end this interview and I'm going to be like, God, I should have asked her that. And I forgot. What are your thoughts? You know, I know what I was going to say. We're on different ends of the political spectrum, but you're still in contact with me. Why?
Still in contact with what?
In contact with me.
You're my child. I don't care. It's nothing that you can do that will make me stop loving you, and I respect you. You know, just because we don't agree doesn't mean that, you know, I'm gonna give up on you and not respect you for what you believe in.
I'm gonna change your mind. You don't know it yet, but I'm gonna change your mind.
Okay, I doubt it, but you know, you can try. You know, and I respect you for that too.
I bet you have more conservative values than you realize. So, but maybe. You know, I heard the saddest thing yesterday because, you know, since this election, it's ripped a lot of families apart. And I guess this interview, like I wanted to interview you, but as I'm talking to you, I just realized, you know, pretty much with each question I've been asking you, just how grateful I have been. You know, a lot of things to be grateful for. And this lady was basically saying that her husband was a conservative and her parents were liberal, and they disown her, and she was getting married, and her dad won't even walk her down the aisle. And you know, so she was basically putting a call out. She goes, I needed a dad to walk me down the aisle for my wedding. I just got so, like, it was so emotional for me to listen to that, you know. And just
because see, they don't have unconditional love. You know, and that's what you have to have with people, unconditional love. And I respect people. I don't care if they, you know, I don't want someone killing someone, you know, but especially on purpose. But you have to respect people and their different views.
Yeah, it's very true. I'm just grateful that you're somebody like that, because there are a lot of people that aren't like that. They've disowned their children, and vice versa. The children have disowned the parents, or, you know.
Just because they don't think like they think.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's it, I guess. I got to get back to work. I'm doing this.
All right.
I'm sorry. I know the thing that's just like ripping me up right now. I'm like, I know when I end this interview, I'm like, oh, I mean, I sat down and I had questions that I wrote down, but I know I'm going to forget something else. I'm going to be like, I should have asked.
Well, Virstyne, I'm always here, okay?
Well, I mean, I'm like, for the interview though, I don't want to have to like.
When are you going to air it?
On Mother's Day.
Okay, well, we have tomorrow and Saturday.
I guess we could. I don't want to edit it. I have to do another segment. I got to edit it and all that stuff.
Okay, goodbye.
Love
you.
All right, guys, that ends our Mother's
All right, love you.
Thank you. Peace, and love. Bye-bye. Wait, don't stop. Hold up.
I'm leaving.
Well,
you know there's a leave button.
No, don't leave. Hold on.
Okay.
Bye, guys. Peace and bye-bye. Mwah. And wait.